What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Aerons from the Wrestle Plug podcast, and I'm back to discuss WWE Raw. Now, just as a quick side note before we get started and before I start laying down some pure fire on that show, oh dear. NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day is now finally available for you to check out on the YouTube. I would like to offer my apologies for the lateness of the video. Normally, I get the videos out pretty pronto, as soon as obviously I can, but unfortunately we had some technical difficulties combined with the illness that I'm currently suffering. No idea what's going on right now, but I will check in with a doctor just to make sure everybody stays settled. But ultimately, I just wanted to apologise for it being a little bit late, but it is now available. Of course, it is also an audio podcast as well, so please do not hesitate to check that out if you haven't checked it out already. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. But just wanted to let you guys know that NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day is now available via the YouTube channel as well, and it's got some pretty cool extensive highlights, and fingers crossed you'll enjoy it as much as you do our other content. And by the way, on that video, we do give away a free t-shirt or piece of art to one lucky winner. So if you're wondering who won and you'd like to send them congratulations, that's the video to check out. Now then, WWE Raw. Why am I still watching this? Okay, so I'm honest on this podcast, and I try to keep the fire spitting and swearing down to a minimum, but fuck that shit this week. I am going all in. So the show opens with Miz TV. The Miz's special guest is Drew McIntyre. Whoop-dee-doo. I don't care at this point, and I was Miz's biggest mark, particularly during his rivalry with John Cena, but I just don't give a shit anymore. I really don't. He feels so lackluster. Ironically enough, though, this might have been the best promo I've seen from The Miz in quite a few months. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that John Morrison wasn't on this show. He was away doing something, apparently filming. I don't fucking know. I don't care, personally. But with John Morrison's absence, The Miz felt slightly better and more entertaining. And he has Drew McIntyre on his show, but it's so boring. He goes Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre gets angry, of course, because he's big and he's angry and he's Scottish. And I've had enough of your shite, Miz, you bastard. And he just, give me a kiss. And he just fucking nuts him. Cool. And then The Miz, Drew McIntyre also, the highlight of this segment was Drew McIntyre launching the Money in the Bank briefcase once again. That's that briefcase, right? That image of Drew McIntyre launching the Money in the Bank briefcase, that pretty much sums up how shit that briefcase has become. What a fucking joke. Think back to when Edge cashed in Money in the Bank. Think back even to when RVD cashed it in, letting John Cena know prior to ECW One Night Stand, it meant something, it felt special. It doesn't anymore, does it? It feels like a fucking toy. Honestly, at this point, I felt like Otis's lunchbox had more credibility than this briefcase, and I don't mean that lunchbox. This was systematic of this Raw. So, Drew McIntyre leaves, Miz gets on the mic, I'm removing myself from the Elimination Chamber. Okay. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Why do you need to be in it? Especially when you're on the Money in the Bank holder. And what you're essentially doing is saying, I've got my opportunity here, so why would I put myself through the hell of the elimination? But for me, from a logical aspect, I understand it, but at the same time, that's one opportunity. What you're essentially doing is getting rid of one of your opportunities to become a champion. So, yeah, I mean, at least he's not a face. If he was a face and he did that, I'd be like, what the literal shit are you doing? But I understand why it was done, but it's not my cup of tea, personally. I thought it was a bit cheap. And his idea for a replacement is John Morrison. Surprise. No, actually, I would prefer to see John Morrison inside the Elimination Chamber, just because he's more athletic and he can do some crazy parkour shit off one of the cells and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, he approaches poor Adam Pearce, who has it bad enough every Friday, dealing with old pissy pants Roman Reigns, and now he's got to deal with all these reprobates. He's got Braun Strowman coming up to him. Why aren't I in the Elimination Chamber? Because you beat people up and you're an arsehole. I don't care. I'll go and speak to Shane McMahon. Okay, thanks for your contribution to WWE Raw, Braun. That was scintillating. More evidence as to why Carl Wilkinson gave him his Worst Wrestler of the Year of 2020 on our awards show, which you can also check out via the YouTube channel. Cheeky plugs all over the place. Wrestle plugs or cheeky plugs, a little bit of both. But before John Morrison can be seriously considered to be an entrant in the Elimination Chamber, along comes New Day, who apparently are done with Retribution. Retribution weren't on this show. What the fuck? This is where I get fucking pissed off. You spend weeks and weeks and weeks forcing this shit down my throat. Hey, Mustafa Ali hates Kofi Kingston. He hates Xavier Woods. He hates the New Day. He's gonna, one way or another, stitch them up. And then here's your opportunity. Kofi Kingston versus The Miz. If Kofi wins, he's in the Elimination Chamber. If The Miz wins, it's John Morrison in the Elimination Chamber. So I'm immediately thinking, okay, well, Retribution's obviously going to come out and cost Kofi Kingston. Nah, can't be asked for that. Just have Kofi Kingston go over clean in what was admittedly a very good and competitive match. Probably the most exciting match I saw on this show because, well, frankly, I was bored shitless. Great. But, you know... So what, are we going to wait till Elimination Chamber and Retribution going to try and get in the cage and attack Kofi Kingston? I don't fucking care. I don't... Why should I care about storylines if you don't care? Weeks and weeks and weeks. New Day versus Retribution. Retribution versus New Day. Kofi Kingston versus insert guy here. Xavier Woods versus insert guy here. Insert Retribution member here. Just the repetitive bullshit, right? It's boring, but at least you're being consistent. And then this week, nah, can't be bothered. What? Why are you wasting my fucking time then? This is 3 hours long, mate. Get to the fucking point. But Kofi Kingston's in the Elimination Chamber. That's a good thing. That's a big, too dirty thumbs up from me because I love Kofi Kingston. He's a great worker and him being in an Elimination Chamber should be fantastic unless they do any last minute swerves because it is this Sunday after all. And after watching TakeOver Vengeance Day, I gotta be honest, I'm not nearly as excited for Elimination Chamber. I'm excited to watch it with my friends online and, you know, just something to do. And obviously I'm very excited to cover it for you guys. You seem to be receiving these videos with a great deal of happiness and interaction. I very much appreciate that. But, man, this Raw, Jesus Christ. And, you know, that wasn't all that I had to put up with. The women's division. I love women's wrestling, right? I can always rely on WWE's main roster women to look after me when things are tough. Not anymore, especially not on Raw. Charlotte Flair tags with Asuka again because the WWE Raw Women's Champion pretty much has nothing to do, even though she'll be defending her title against Lacey Evans on Sunday. Or will she? So it's Charlotte Flair and Asuka versus Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans. Now, before I start ranting about what you're expecting me to rant about, can I just say, what was the fucking point of splitting up Billie Kay and Peyton Royce? I know other people have made this point, but I want to reiterate this point. What was the fucking point? Peyton Royce and Billie Kay had great chemistry. Pretty much from the get-go, as soon as they walked in the door, they've been partners. They are widely recognised as the Iconics. And then Vince McMahon gets a chubby because he sees Peyton Royce after a bodybuilding thing and thinks, she's pretty fit. Let's have her as a singles wrestler. But after about 2 weeks, they think, I've forgotten who she is. Put her with Lacey Evans. Why? What? Like, fucking Peyton Royce is standing there like, why am I standing around with Lacey Evans and a fetish for this old man, Ric Flair? Charlotte Flair has got this image, by the way. I love this. The one thing that I find really funny about this is Charlotte Flair, her facial expressions replicate how we feel about this fucking shit. Because she's just sat there like, great. Fucking more of this bullshit. Yeah, Charlotte Flair. You remember Charlotte Flair? One of the best women's wrestlers of the modern generation. Had some epic, incredible WrestleMania main event worthy matches. She even main evented a WrestleMania. That Charlotte Flair. You know, the one who's now standing around doing quite literally nothing, jobbing out quite a lot, and also watching her dad bang the arse off of half the roster, apparently. And apparently he's banged her pretty hard because at the end of this incredibly woeful and embarrassing match, which got thrown out because Lacey Evans wouldn't get in the ring and because Charlotte Flair couldn't get her hands on her, Lacey Evans announces that she's pregnant. Kayfabe, of course. Now, actually, in real life, she has become pregnant. And I'm not really fucking surprised because if somebody had come to me and said, right, this is what Raw is going to be like for the next few months, this is the angle I'm going to put you in, I think I might just go home and get up the duff, mate, because that ultimately means that I don't have to stand around and fucking be partial to this bullshit. Who is responsible for creative on WWE Raw? Is it Bruce Pritchard? Because I will slap him with a wet salmon. Is it Road Dogg? I'll slap him with a wet haddock. Hell, I'll get my own fucking member out and slap both of them round the chops with it. What the fuck is going on here? What? Oh, she's pregnant in real life, so we may as well use this into Stormer. Great. Absolutely great. Vince McMahon probably doesn't actually realise what pregnancy is in real life. He probably thinks that you can only get pregnant via kayfabe means, aka Mae Young and a hand. So he's like, it's such good shit. Ric Flair has actually knocked you up. I'm so proud of you, Rick. You're still my boy. Shut. Jesus Christ. Trash. Don't worry though, the other women will look after the product because we've got Lana versus Shayna Baszler. Lord, help me, please. Why? Why? I get it. Lana and Naomi are going to challenge for the tag titles. Nobody gives a shit. Those tag belts are a joke. The highlight here is Nia Jax screaming her hole. Oh, by the way, Naomi and Lana giggling backstage. I'm supposed to like you, right? I love Naomi. I think she's incredible. I think she's a future world champion and should be challenging Asuka at WrestleMania. However, they're backstage giggling on the hole. Okay, I'm 36. And I'm sure 8-year-olds think that's cringeworthy. Fuck off. What the fuck is that? It's so tacky. I don't like you in that role. I think you come across as obnoxious and stupid and childish. It's pathetic, is what it is. And it's what Vince McMahon finds funny because he's just ever so slowly dying in the grips of hilariously creative dementia. This show sucks. It sucks so fucking hard. And by the way, I love Shayna Baszler. Another person who I think should be at the top of the roster. When she came, she bit a fucking lump out of Becky Lynch's neck. And now she's playing comedy side troll to miss, oh my god, my hole hurts every week. No, absolutely not. What a fucking pile of utter trash. Honestly. It's garbage. And by the way, Lana can't work either. I like Lana. She's very pretty and she was a great mic worker when she was along Rusev, but her wrestling is so shit and so fake. The way she's like, and then does the crossbody. It looks so fake. It looks like someone cosplaying as a wrestler, pretending to be a wrestler, not actually wrestling. And I think it's fucking insulting that someone with Shayna Baszler's talent and legitimacy has to get in the ring and waste time with a fucking scrub like that. Put Lana where she belongs, as a character, as an entertainment vessel, not as this legitimate contender you're so desperate to push her as, even though she fucking consistently gets violated by Nia Jax, whose hole is now apparently being violated in a comedic sense every week. We're just one step away, aren't we, from that fucking hand that Mae Young gave birth to falling out of Nia Jax's arsehole, and me having a complete and utter meltdown on this podcast. Lord help me. Right before the main event, amazingly, the most positive thing I can talk about from this show is our new 24/7 champion, Bad Bunny. Now, do I hate Bad Bunny? No. Do I think Cypress Hill are tenfold better than he will ever be? Abso-fucking-lutely. But I actually welcome the sight of him and Akira Tozawa fucking around. He's with Damian Priest. By the way, he's talking to Mandy Rose. And then Damian Priest comes around like, damn! And he's like, hey, easy, man, easy. I thought it was quite funny, actually. It felt somewhat relatable. Just boys messing around, pissing around. By the way, Mandy Rose, mwah. Why is she not on my TV more? So, Mandy Rose can't make it on TV, but apparently Nia Jax and her gaping chasm can. And Lana, who is at this point quite literally a beautiful dancer who has the wrestling ability of a duct-taped dog. These people can make it on TV, but Mandy Rose can't on a regular basis, despite looking the way she does and performing the way she does. Nah, man. Not feeling that. Bad Bunny rolls up, Akira Tozawa becomes 24/7 champion is what we're getting to, and that's a smart move, and I actually like it. It's the biggest joke of a belt in the company, so why not make it the biggest prop? He'll turn up to Saturday Night Live, most likely get rolled up by R-Truth on Saturday Night Live. This is actually really great exposure, and it'll be the night before Elimination Chamber, so this is actually very, very fucking smart business. I actually think this is very sensible. All eyes on Bad Bunny's obviously got a huge fan base. He's obviously a massive commercial success right now globally, particularly in the Latin American demographic, and obviously having Damian Priest around him as well. By the way, Damian Priest can only go up, up, up in terms of stock, hanging around with a megastar like Bad Bunny. He's got himself in a very good position already in this company, so good for him, and I'm excited because I think Damian Priest genuinely could be the future of this company. So this is great. But that's the highlight of your show. A new 24/7 champion who is a Latin American rapper. Ooh. From a wrestling standpoint, it's not looking good, is it? Now, the main event is the Gauntlet Match, of course, for the Elimination Chamber's final entrant. So basically, win this match and you're last out of the pods. Okay, fantastic. This took up a third of the show. So a third, one whole third of your show was taken up with one match, a Gauntlet match. Now that's fine, and they've done this before, and ultimately, I think that's quite a good idea because it means less of the crap. But by God, how do you find so much time to fit so much shit in before this? AJ Styles starts the match, by the way, which is the perfect choice. He's out there with Omos. I love their chemistry. Omos is doing this. They're having fun. And it's nice that just because he's a giant doesn't mean that he can't smile and have a laugh and enjoy working alongside a legend like AJ Styles who's sort of coming out and going, I am big mean man and I choke slam people I don't like. Great. I'm actually glad that he's not doing that. You know, he looks like he's got much more depth than someone like Braun Strowman, for example, or a Big Show. So AJ Styles starts the match against Kofi Kingston. Good stuff. By the way, one of the big highlights of the show was Xavier Woods going, oh, the trombone while standing on the table. And Omos is like, I've had enough of your shit, and just grabs him around the neck. It's like, brilliant. Works for me. Choke slams him out into the fucking arena screens. I thought it was quite funny, actually. I quite enjoyed that. AJ Styles eventually dispatches Kofi Kingston, and here comes your WWE champion because he hasn't really had much to do in this show, so why not get him over as the big destroyer that he is? And they did that well. He comes out, he claymores AJ Styles, he then has to face Jeff Hardy. They actually had a really good competitive match, some of the best stuff I've seen Jeff Hardy do for quite some time, if I'm being honest. Jeff Hardy gets dispatched. Then comes Randy Orton, you're thinking business will definitely pick up. Now, earlier in the night, we had seen Alexa Bliss. How can you do such a satanic ritual on the floor like that and still look so fucking hot in every sense? Your partner is a lucky bastard. So Alexa Bliss essentially says, yeah, the Fiend will be coming back soon. You're up shit creek, buddy. And of course, Randy Orton doesn't even get an opportunity to get involved in this match because no sooner is he in, but as soon as he gets outside, Alexa Bliss arrives en masse. Every Alexa Bliss. If you like looking at Alexa Bliss, this is a good segment because there was a good 2,000 of her from what I could see. They were everywhere. She was on everything that you could project her on. This, of course, freaked out Randy Orton, and while he's distracted by this nonsense, he gets counted out, which is kind of a good way of making this match a little bit short. Because when he came out, I thought, oh my God, are we going to have 20 minutes of Orton versus Drew McIntyre, then have the inevitable fucking clash with Sheamus? No, he gets counted out. Slowly building to the Fiend, but without the Fiend actually on the television show for the last few weeks, even this rivalry just feels like it's getting drawn out and a bit boring at this point. So finally, Sheamus blindsides Drew McIntyre, and it's on. Either Sheamus or Drew McIntyre will come out last in the Elimination Chamber. That's great, okay? However, you have literally spent all this time teasing, is Sheamus going to turn? He's friends with him. Is he going to turn? Even though he's here, of course he's going to fucking turn. We all knew that. But if I'm going to suspend my disbelief just a tiny fraction for your terrible show, and you say to me, yeah, this is actually a big deal. He turned on his best friend. So next week they're going to wrestle each other. Oh. Okay. Not going to wait till pay-per-view then? Nah. Just have him jump him. They have a decent back and forth. Eventually, Drew McIntyre goes for the Claymore. He misses. Sheamus hits him with a bro kick. Boom. Sheamus is the last man out in the Elimination Chamber. Now, I'm happy about that. I really like Sheamus. I think he's really underrated. And I think when he eventually retires, which I imagine is probably sooner rather than later, well, I think we're genuinely going to realise just how special Sheamus was and how much of a great impact he had on this product and in his career and how many good matches he had and how many great moments he provided us. But why did you waste it on this Raw? Could have waited till Elimination Chamber. Who even cares at this point? I don't care who comes out last. The Elimination Chamber match is going to be fun. It will have some stunts. It will have some spots. But come on. I don't care. And oh man, this Raw was shit. Ultimately, what can I say about this Raw? It was fucking boring. It didn't accomplish anything. Nothing really made sense. And when it did make sense, it felt like it was wasted. Why is this show still 3 hours long? Somebody please contact USA and tell them that honestly, I would much rather consider suicide than keep watching 3 hours of Raw every week. Why are we all doing this to ourselves? This show doesn't need to be 3 hours long. It could have been 2 hours long and it would have achieved so much more and it wouldn't have bored me nearly as much. Because actually, SmackDown isn't that much better than Raw, but the difference is that you're not saturated by all the bollocks because they've only got 2 hours, so everything is a bit more succinct, a little bit more sharper, and a little bit more exciting. That's why SmackDown's better. Not necessarily because it's got a shit ton better talent, because it actually doesn't. Raw's got loads of incredible talent. It's just that 3 hours is too fucking long. Jesus Christ, NXT TakeOver Avengers Day was 2.5 hours long, so why am I going to watch 3 hours of your carny bullshit creative? Okay? I'm not sitting here claiming to be the world's biggest expert in wrestling, but I like to entertain you guys with my opinions. And I'm also a writer. I actually have qualifications in being a writer. And I sit here and I watch this stuff and I think, this is actually insulting. And you don't even need to be a professional writer or have any understanding of writing to write for this show, clearly, because the creative on this is fucking hot garbage. Let me know what you thought of WWE Raw. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I don't personally think so, and frankly, I'll argue to death that I'm not. But I want to know what you guys think. Please let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe. Please do not forget to let your friends know. We're getting closer and closer to 300 subscribers, which means we could have yet another lucky winner of a t-shirt or a fresh piece of art, whatever you fancy. But once we get to 300 subscribers, that's when we're going to start giving away even more stuff. Every 100 subscribers, remember, ladies and gentlemen, we're hoping to at least give something away. And that should hopefully be for the foreseeable future. From myself, Aerons, thank you very much for checking out the Wrestle Plug. And hopefully you will return to hear me discuss Impact Wrestling tomorrow. Not to mention what's going on the Japanese side of the AEW Women's Tournament bracket that they've got going on right now. Until then, I'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.